Hello, David.
Hey, Carlos, how are you?
I'm good. And you? How are you? How's it going?
All good, all good.
Okay, so we are almost on the time. So we are very punctually in terms of the schedule. So we will be ready for our last session of the day on the developer track, and we will have David, that is an Office 365 enthusiast and is doing a lot of tricks inside SharePoint. I personally know that is one of the favorite pastimes that he has. But to talk a little bit about that, we'll have David. David, the stage is yours. Please go ahead when you want.
Okay, so hello everyone, and thanks Carlos for introducing me. So I am David, and today I will go talk a little bit how to manage the creation of Microsoft Teams, but we're gonna involve a couple of Microsoft products here to create this system, and I hope that everyone enjoy how we're gonna do this. So to start, I would like to thank to the sponsors of this amazing collab day that we are having, and definitely they help a lot, making sure that everything is delivered and the content that is delivered to you guys is great, and you explore other alternatives on Microsoft and how to implement certain things that definitely you can explore and get more with Office 365. So just talking a little bit about myself. So I'm David Ramalho. I work as SharePoint developer at Storm Technology. It's an Ireland company. This year I was awarded with MVP Office Apps and Services. My focus area is SharePoint and Microsoft Teams, and I do as well some contributions to PNP, PNP.js, PNP result controls, and that type of thing. And I have also a blog that is listed over here called SharePoint Tricks, where I post about Office 365, the things that I learn every day on the companies that I worked so far, what I did to help to improve experience in Office 365, and how could we address some of the problems that we may have. Here are as well my contacts, Dev Ramalho at sharepointtricks.com, and my Twitter feed, it's Dev Ramalho. So for our agenda today, these will be the topics. So we're gonna start with the objective of the company. So certain company reach out to us and they want to have a system where they just manage the creation of the teams to certain projects. So the second topic on the agenda is the options available. So which tools we could implement to reach this goal, what we're going to use at the end, what we decide to be the easiest way for people to manage this task, how the user interact with systems. So pretty much the workflow, the user go to a certain area and then it will trigger all the system and how that should behave. I will also make a demo of that. How I manage to do everything, and I will show you exactly where I need to go and how to connect everything. At the end, I will have the conclusions. It's pretty much taking the objectives and making sure that we feel all the objectives of the company, and we have as well other possibilities to explore. So we are going to build a very, very simple system. But of course, there are a bunch of different options to explore, and I want to give you some ideas how you can explore that part. So the objectives of this company for this particular project, let's say that we are building a project, is they will in the company they have a certain they want to pretty much alert someone that a new project become to the company, and after that it's required for the people to do certain tasks. And what we're going to do here is allow people to make a request of these new projects. We want as well to make it easier in terms of adding and updating new fields. So if we need any extra information that we don't have at the release of this system, we could go to a certain area on Office 365 and add this field, or even update some of the fields that we have. The other thing they want to be able to use is making sure that if they are on a laptop, they could see everything just fine. If you go to a mobile device, the same thing. So they want to make sure that everything is mobile ready, pretty much. Then we want to as well to record the requests. So we want a way to quickly say that, okay, someone submitted something, and depending on that, they could check that. We have as well over here approve or reject. So we're going to have the possibility to approve a team, and then we're going to have a message. And if you reject, we're going to have as well a message. And at the end, they want to create a team, and this is what they have on their system. Of course, this is debatable, and depending on the organization, you may have a team where you just create channels for each project. But in this case, they are creating a team for each project, and with that, they make sure that all the files are separated for each other, and all the project's assets, all the project of certain client are all on the same place. So moving on to the options available, that's our next topic. On Office 365, the way that Microsoft have, we have there is not only one option available. Generally, there are 3, 4, 5. I can see 5 options here, and I will talk the 5th that is not here. But definitely what we could do is build a SharePoint framework. So SPFX web part, where we just have some kind of form. People go there, they print, they just create, for instance, user fields, the name they want to put on the team, and based on that, we're going to build a web part that's going to trigger behind the scenes a couple more things, or we can even put on the web part itself to the creation of that team. We have also the possibility to create a Teams app, and with that, we can definitely, the SharePoint framework allow you to have a Teams app, but we can create one from scratch using your Teams, for instance, or the new Visual Studio thing they have as well to create Teams app. We could as well creating a Power App, and most of the people probably could go that route as well. So build a nice interface using Canvas apps and build something from there. The last option that we have here is Microsoft Forms. So we just create a simple form. People go there, fill in their information, and then we're going to have like an admin which is going to manage everything. And in this case, going to accept or reject the creation of the teams. We have like the fifth option that it's not here is the Microsoft lists. It's a very recent product from Microsoft. And definitely could be a way to implement this system and making sure that everything is triggered to create these teams. So what we're going to use is pretty much a mix of technologies. So we're going to start having a Microsoft Forms. And on that form, we're going to have like project name, how many times you were purchased by the client, for instance. And we're going to have as well what is the preferred day to start this project. Then we're going to have to create all the assets on Microsoft Teams. We're going to have the logic apps, which are going to as well trigger the approve and reject thing. And at the end, we're going to have Microsoft Teams to manage this part where people go and control if the team is accepted to be created or rejected. And we're going to have as well the teams being created for the user that submitted the request, for instance. So how the user will interact with the system. So a regular user, go to that form that we're going to make available for the entire organization. And we're going to make sure this form is only available for the organization. And then it's going to start or kick off that's going to be displayed on the Teams channel. And what we're going to use as well is the adaptive card just to make that more enhanced. Then we're going to have either, if it's approved, you're going to have the team created. If it's rejected, the team is not going to be created. This is pretty much our system, of course, here. And at the end, I will speak about the enhancements that you can do here on this system. We just want to make something very, very easy for people can take a look and get some ideas. And of course, implement certain things, because definitely depending on the business, you may have to create other types of things, like invoices, for instance, is something that I remember right now, to make all of the system. So moving on to the next thing, we're gonna start the demo. Usually people at the introduction of all the demos is it's a bit just to put everyone in perspective and to know what we're gonna build. So I just put a little name here. So it's finally demo time, right? All right. So we're gonna just pop up here, and the first thing that we're gonna start here is to create this form that we just speak about. And for that, you can go to the Office portal, and then you're gonna have over here a bunch of different options, and we're gonna spin up the forms. After you spin up the forms, the way to create forms, you have like two different ways. You can create a form just for your own or for the group. In this case, because we are just making a demo here, I will just create my own form. Just log in here, 1 second. And after you create, you're gonna have something like this. So over here, let's rename this. And to clear, this is the part that is very easy to update fields and to add new fields in case that they are needed. And definitely this is one of the why we choose Microsoft Forms instead of SharePoint, because SharePoint framework, for instance, because here it's not needed to build any code. It's just pretty much put here your answers, and anyone can come here and mess around with this. You can also always share as well this particular form with anyone from your organization to be able to edit these and make some adjustment that you may need here. So over here, let's put project, new projects. Let's make this wording, new projects. Here we can eventually put a description, create a new project. And when you are on Microsoft Forms, you have a bunch of different options. You can have just text, you can have rating, data, and all of these as well is possible to be reviewed on responses, which is always a nice way for you to see who have responded to what and what were the answers for that specific text choice or whatever is the field that you choose. You can even here put something called branch, which allow you to pretty much create a question, and based on the answer of that question, you can redirect people to certain areas that you feel it's better for them to fill in. Over here, well, you have also the possibility to make a question be required to be answered, and that will make sure that all the fields are definitely filled by your user, and it's going to be a lot easier. Let me just come here and give me my notes. So we're going to have one question called name of the project, and we're going to make this required. We're going to have as well a text for the client name. So we're going to make that as well required. We're going to have the type of work. So over here, generally speaking, depending on the organization, you may have some kind of development. It could be some training, and it's what we're going to put here. And you're going to see as well the development. You're going to see as well that Microsoft Forms Detect is generally people, when they start filling development, they could use one of these features, and this is great for me because we speak about training, and I can click here and it will automatically create the training choice option, and we can definitely make that as well for research, for instance, and we can still use this option to create more options over here, and eventually could create an option for more. Let's now jump to the next one, which is starting date, and over here we're going to have a date over here, and we're going to make that as well required.
David, since that we are talking about questions, let me just interrupt you. We have a questions into our chat. So Tom just asks if is there a way to incorporate Teams into my SharePoint Online or SharePoint on-prem sites?
I've well put Microsoft Teams inside SharePoint. It's not. I would say that it's not the way that generally things are done. It's more putting SharePoint Teams, because nowadays what Microsoft is trying to do is making sure that Teams is the aggregator of all Microsoft cloud services. So you even have like you can put forms inside Teams, and you can put forms on SharePoint, but I don't think you can put SharePoint Teams into SharePoint, you know.
Thank you.
Okay. So over here on this one, just delete that one and start again. So over here on this one, we're gonna make again a text, and we're gonna just ask this how many days of development. And lastly, we're gonna have pretty much a free text with comments, because generally, depending on the project, you may have some extra comments that you would like to give to the person that is filling the form. So this is pretty much done. Of course, on forms you have a bunch of different options and settings. If you want to share with anyone on your organization, pretty much to respond to this form, you just can copy this link, put on a new window, and then you're gonna be able to fill this form. These comments is supposed to be not required, so let me just edit that for 1 second, and it's pretty much done. And if I come here and I put again the same form, is still required. So sorry for that. Or I need to come here and copy this new one. But generally speaking, this is the way that Microsoft Forms works. Of course, over here you can eventually put some more enhanced form, like putting some images or some nice backgrounds. And over here there are a couple of settings that I want as well to share with you. You can over here can allow not only your organization to respond, but also anyone that have access to the link. You can send a message back to the user as well. You just need to click here and fill the information on that. And you can get, for instance, an email notification for each response. That will allow you to understand that any response is submitted. Of course, in our case, and on this particular scenario, we're gonna put a message on Microsoft Teams. So now jumping on Microsoft Teams, I have already built the channel where the things is gonna be on every time that a new project is created on Microsoft Forms. It's gonna pop up here a card, and for that, what we're gonna use is adaptive cards. But before that, we need to pretty much to configure the Azure part, because what we're gonna use here is a connection to Microsoft Graph, which gonna pretty much create a team for us. So on Azure, what we need the first thing that we need to do is create an application that is gonna be inside our Active Directory, which will allow us to make a request to Microsoft Graph. And for that, you just need to come here to app registration and here click on a new registration. Here, we gonna put something like Collab Lisbon 2020. This can be pretty much any name, because our idea is just to use to our own applications. Generally, here you can put create teams, manage teams, and it's gonna be created inside your organization and your tenant. So you just click register. Okay. So now is this particular application is registered on our application. And from here, the things that we need to be aware is this application ID, which is called app ID, and we're going to need that in a second for the graph part. We need as well these apps and certificates. The type of authentication that we're going to use here is client secret, just because it's easier for this context. So I'll just click here and I'll put something that never expires. And here it could be any description that you want, just to be so you are aware of the secret. Over here, making sure that after you clicking on this step, you copy this string. Otherwise, you will not be able to see these on the next time that you come to the portal. And now the last step that we are missing is to allow the graph to create a team for us. And for that, what we're gonna need is to have an application. Select over here Microsoft Graph, and here you have two different options. The first one, which is delegated permissions, is pretty much we gonna authorize our users to get this type of information from Graph. But on our case, we just register an application, and we're gonna run the Microsoft Graph using the application permission. So over here, just click that. And over here, if you go to the, and this is definitely something that you need to always have present on your mind is, let me just put here, create teams. So the way that generally you build all of these is you need to be aware of the different Microsoft Graph requests they require. And for instance, to create a team, they need, if you are using an application, you need the permissions group and write all. So for that, you just copy here. You're gonna back to the Azure portal, which is here, and you can put something like this, and you're gonna show immediately the required that you're gonna need. Here we just click add permissions, and we pretty much created or we have allowed Microsoft this particular application to run something for us, which gonna allow us to create a team. We now need to grant permissions, and I will just grant them. So all good. When everything is green, that means everything is granted, and we are gonna be able to run this on our Logic app. After that, and pretty much all the background in terms of authentication, it's done. So now what we're gonna need to do is to have the Azure stuff. So the first thing that we're gonna need, I recommend to have a resource group for this particular case. Over here, I put this one, Collab Lisbon, not this one, Lisbon 2020, that doesn't have anything. The other one was my testing thing. So over here, we're not gonna have anything yet. So we're gonna create a resource, and what we're gonna use is Logic Apps. So we can come here, Logic App, create, and then we're gonna define a name for the Logic App, create teams, for instance. You can give any name here. It doesn't matter because we're gonna create a team based on what we have from Microsoft Forms. Sorry. Now it's creating all the backgrounds that we're gonna need. This generally is pretty fast because we are just creating a quick resource. And the way that Logic Apps is built is it's very, very similar to Power Automate, which probably all of you already know or very familiar with. And here we're gonna have, I would say not all the connectors that are there. We're gonna have more specific here, but eventually everything that you find on Power App, you're gonna be able to find them here as well. So now what we're gonna need here, if you remember correctly, we are using Microsoft Forms. So we can type forms here, and we should be able to get the forms over here. So there you go. So we click here, and we're gonna have a trigger, which is pretty much a trigger that we're gonna use. That means when some response is submitted, we're gonna trigger our flow of things. So I need to create a notification for that, and I will use again my user that is on this tenant. 1 second to authenticate on this. We're gonna have not only this one for Microsoft Form, but we're gonna have as well this for Teams, and you're gonna have as well one for Office 365 users. So we are able to get the user email, so we can create a team on behalf of that user. So the next one we need as well to be the forms, because over here we just know that something has been submitted, but we don't have the actual answer. So here the same thing. If you remember correctly, the name that we gave to our forms was new project. So we just pick here new project. And over here I know that on Power Apps it doesn't work like this, but over here it doesn't show anything. So you need to click here on see more options. And what we need here is the response ID. So if you click here and put here the response ID, you're going to have pretty much what the user answered on the question that this logic app catched. So the next thing is right now we have like a starting point. So we have all the answers. We have something that has been submitted. So what you need to do here is to print something, for instance, on Microsoft Teams. And this is going to be just for you to see the different possibilities that you have. I'm going to create a Microsoft Teams, but for now, I will just print something on the channel so you can see something already popping up. So what we're going to use as well is the adaptive cards, which is something that people are very familiar with. And I will show you as well where you can pretty much create your own designs. I have already something stored over here, and I'm gonna pretty much show you what we have prepared for this demo. And depending on that, you can have, I didn't show, but here we are just posting something for a specific channel, but you can post something and wait for the response. And that's what we're gonna use for the final result of this. So over here we have the project manager, and we want this to be pretty much printed on new projects channel. And then we need to put here our message. And on our message, if we want to have, so first, this is the adaptive cards designer. So over here, you have a bunch of different settings. I will give you just a quick overview. If you click here on the new card, you have pretty much a starting point for each card. We can start from scratch. We have already some here for flights, for foods, and a bunch of different options. Generally, I start with this one, and then eventually I can delete everything. I can create new options. You have over here the selected host app. For instance, we know that we are using Microsoft Teams, and they have here how this is going to be showing on Microsoft Teams. And you can have like a quick preview of what you're going to have. But this is also available, for instance, for Outlook and for other Microsoft related apps. So let me just copy here my sample of adaptive card. I am using a couple of different things here and an image as well. Here, and if I put this here, it's pretty much will show you what we're gonna have. So we're gonna have this project request, a simple image over here. If you think this is too much distraction, you can definitely remove this. And to remove this from the adaptive card, you just need to click here and press delete here, and then you're gonna have something like this. I like the fact of the image is there, so we're gonna use that. But you can pretty much come here and edit everything. If you are more familiar with JSON, you can come here as well and change a couple of settings as well. So if I want to change this label, it says name of the project, and just put project, I can just erase that, and you see that now we have projects. Eventually for these, how many days, we could put just days of work, and it's going to be probably easier for people to identify, okay, this line belongs to that one, and so on. So what we need to do now is this is just to give you an overview of the different possibilities that you have for the adaptive cards. So I will just copy here what we have, and when we are on the Power, on the Logic apps, and even on Power Automate, we're gonna have this dynamic content. So if you remember correctly, we have the name of the project, which you can pick here, name of the project, and so on. Here the client name. So the same thing, we just come here, client name, type of work. We have the same thing, type of work, and we're gonna do all for each of these fields exactly the same thing. So starting date, here the days, event. Again, you can not type of work, days. Where is my days? How many days of development? Okay. Sorry, guys. Well, let me just go redo this again. Generally, you need to be very careful using the Control-Z because as you saw, pretty much deleted all the different fields that I have already a value on. Type of work, days, elements, and then for who, we don't have this who, but we have here responser eBay. All right, and then I'm gonna just leave these buttons, but for now, these buttons will not do anything, okay? Because we are not waiting for a reply. Therefore, this is gonna run and just put a card on that specific team. So let's try this system as is now. So let me come here again, pick this form and just fill in here with something sample test, client name, SharePoint tricks. Over here, let's say that we are doing a development. We wish to start on the next Monday. It's going to be 5 days of development. And here are my comments. Once you submit, pretty much it's going to trigger everything, and the image, the text should appear here in a second. And there we go. So we can see that we missed something, which is the preferred starting date. But these buttons, they are doing pretty much nothing. And you see that we have an error because we are not waiting for anything. And if I come here to the Logic app and if we refresh this, we can see that it's still not running. That means that everything was run and everything was successful. So we still need to do some tweaks here to be able to create our team. And that's something that we're gonna do right now. So let me just open this, and over here on starting, I didn't put here preferred starting date, but I will put now. And what I'm gonna do, I will copy all of this because we were using this post here on adaptive card as a bot to the channel, but what we're gonna use to build all of this is not this one, but the one which says wait for response, which is this one. A very important thing as well that I will talk in a second is the part where you define the IDs of the app itself. So these ones, that is what we're gonna read over here to be able to identify if the button that we press is the one that says reject or if it's the one that says approve. Let's now fill in the rest of information as well. So over here, we're gonna print on new project. And because we are using these buttons, it's for the best experience. We should show some message to the end user to let them know that they press some kind of button. And my message over here is gonna be project name responded. Something like that, just to be very, very easy. Again, this didn't save my thing, so let me put again name of the project here, client name, and sorry for this, starting date, how many days of work, comments, and then lastly, sponsor email. All right. So if I save now, what we're gonna have is we're gonna have like this exact same car, but once you click on one of these buttons, it will show the message that we just put here called the project that we put on the form, and then the response. So we can remove this one now and start to creating our control. Let's start for our control. So over here, we're gonna have our response, right? So over here, what we're gonna need is based on this response that we have here, we're gonna have the button rejected or the button which were approved. So over here is not showing me thing that I am needing. Just 1 second to refresh here. Okay, so this is not showing at the moment these actions. So I will just run this so you can see how the form is interacting and creating those buttons. And after that, we're going to be able to see response from the logic app and detect if the button that we pressed were the reject one or the approved one. So David test SharePoint. Development here 12, 20, here comments. Okay, just submitted that, and we should have in a few seconds. There we go. We have everything here, and if I click approve here, we're gonna see pretty much David test. This was pretty much the text that we just wanted to print over there. And now if I go back here, we're gonna have again success one. But over here, if we detect this one, we're gonna have a bunch of different options over here. And we can say that response button was button approved. So hopefully now Logic App detect that we have some action here. It doesn't detect. Okay. All right, let me just jump to the other one that I have here for that I built for my demo, which is this one, and I can swap all the connections. So as you see here, I should have once I click here, just a new row, just so you can see, we should have something like this, where when a post is generated and we are waiting for a reply, we should have something like this, which allow you to detect the person that replied to the email, the response time, the button that was clicked, and for that is this one. And that's why the ID is very important on this one. The same will happen over here. Let me just now swap this for my new project. And over here, you need to replace these variables as well. And over here, let's swap this as well for new project, and the same here. Just 1 second to swap all of these here to this trick. And here is as well important thing, because when you are creating a team, you need the ID of that user. And for that, you need to use an Office 365 connection, which allow you to pretty much, based on this user, they will give you a bunch of different properties. And then you can use them over here when you are making the trigger or the post to the Microsoft graph. So for the Microsoft graph, what we need is this endpoint that we have over here, and then we're gonna have this message. This message allow you as well to create a bunch of different options. And if you come here to the create team, you can eventually create channels like so. You just put channels and then you make like a display name, the description, and you create up for you automatically all of this. This is the exact same endpoint that we are using. The only difference is because we are using an application to authenticate against Azure, we just need that to have the owner there. This one is a bit different because I believe they are switching to this type of interface, but the one that is at the moment working is this type of message to the Azure. And here, the things that you need to do is get the tenant ID, and this you can get from the Azure Active Directory. For the audience, we are using Microsoft Graph, and here is what we at the beginning had the client ID. So I should have that saved here. So this one is our client ID, and I can show that to you in 1 second. And the same, this is the password that we saw at the beginning. So if I save all of these, and of course, changing this, I can put here my client name here, the client name of the project, and we should be able to create all of this.
David,
okay. Yeah.
Another question. So Tom's just asked if we have to know behind the form codes to create the form and have it created at team sites. So
they want to create a team site, right?
Yeah, let me repeat. So okay. I have to know behind the form codes to create a form and have it create a Teams site.
Well, the Microsoft Teams behind the scenes is creating a team site. So if you want to use that, you can make an extra call to this graph endpoint and get the site that is connected to. If instead of using, over here we are creating Microsoft Teams, but if you want to create a SharePoint site as well, you can make your own HTTP trigger like we have here. And instead of calling, not here, sorry, let me just show it to you. Instead of calling the Microsoft Graph to create a team on your behalf, you just put here the SharePoint endpoints, and you make pretty much a request against that SharePoint APIs rather than having these Microsoft Teams.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we should be able to run off all of this. Give me just 1 second to disable this Lisbon dev. No, this is the one that we are just building in. Let me just disable this one so we don't create confusion. And if you come back here and submit another response, David testing, David final, let's make like this, SharePoint, development, starting date we can put tomorrow. These values are not needed. It's just in case that, and I can give you one simple description why these values can be important for your organization. Because once they are submitted like this, you can make a reply and say to, for instance, my colleague Eusebio to check if everything is okay, and we can create a conversation, an ongoing conversation about this project request. If you submit here on the proof, what's going to happen is behind the scenes it will trigger the creation of the team, and the team should be displaying pretty much immediately over here. And if you go back to the Azure part, and you go back, I'm sorry guys for this confusion, it's this one. If you come back here, you can see that I have submitted something at 5:33, and it was success, and this matched my configuration, and therefore these are my parameters, like, and it's going to create something for pretty much a new team. And again, this is very initial stage. Of course, here there are a lot of room for improvement, and that's something that I want to show you next as well. So for the conclusions, so these were the requests made by the organization, allow people to request new projects. They want to easily update and add new fields. They want the possibility to review these on any device. They want a record of the request. They want to approve or reject the creation of the teams, and they want to create a Microsoft Teams team for each new project. So for the first one, we are using Microsoft Forms that allow you to pretty much say that we have a new client or a new project. The second one, because of the nature of Microsoft Forms, you can have or remove or updating existing fields, or even populate new fields. For instance, you can put something like budget and put on Microsoft Teams directly the budget of the project. This is something that you can definitely enhance as well. The possibility to review this request on any device, pretty much Microsoft Teams is available for our mobile phones. Therefore, it is available for anyone, and you can even accept the cards and everything is gonna create pretty much the team that we're gonna need for this new project. Because we are using Microsoft Forms, all requests are gonna be saved not only on channels but also on Microsoft Forms. So you can go there and check the different requests that have been made. You can approve or reject teams. You can make that little trick with the Teams creation, and we are using the Microsoft Teams connector to do that, and create a Teams for each new project. What we used was Logic Apps, and Logic Apps is running Microsoft Graph that allow us to create this particular team. So I would say that we have the system built, but as you know, when we are developing something, usually this is time that we can release something, but of course there are always rooms for improvement. And after you release this, something, other possibilities to explore will be definitely back to you, right? So on top of my mind, the first thing will be to create a bot that's asking the questions rather than having a form. We could build some kind of bot which asks the exact same questions in the same order, and after the bot got all the answers, it can spin up that specific team. The second option is to add message on Microsoft Teams. Because we are using Logic Apps, we can write some messages back to the Teams team, and to have, for instance, some links to help spin up a new channel, to create private channels in case they need some kind of guidance for the people that are not very familiar with Microsoft Teams. You can send notifications to the users. So let's say that at the moment I'm just creating the teams. People that are owners, they will receive that message that I received saying a new team was created for you with that specific team. But in our case, we can send back to the user some kind of email with more instructions, or how they can again explore more Microsoft Teams, and how they can definitely improve their collaboration experience. We could, as I showed you on the Microsoft Graph, there are templates that you can build. So rather than having only a team there sitting with only a general channel, you can create a team with general channel, but also having extra channels. For instance, you can create sales, support for the project, and so on. And you can eventually create some channels to communicate with the customer. The other thing that is not complemented on this system is once the bot, once the Microsoft Teams receive the request, from logic apps to print to pretty much create those buttons to approve or reject, they will not receive any notification back saying, okay, you didn't reply to this. Maybe you should go and check these after 10 days or something like that. And that's definitely something that you can enhance the system. So this is definitely some improvements. I'm sure that you saw that there are a lot more to improve, and definitely you could do something. And for my final message, this is generally how development works. We just finished something, but there are always more features and more things that need to be adjusted in order to have like a successful product or a successful business case implemented. My final words is first is to thank you guys for assisting this session. I hope that this was successful for you to implement on your organizations, and I hope that you have some learning from today. And I would like as well to thanks to our sponsors that again make this event possible and allow us to have better conditions as possible.
Thank you so much, David, for this amazing session with an excellent example of how we can deliver various services and technologies. So we don't have any more questions so far. We have a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, David will continue with us. So if there is any questions to ask to David, just please go ahead. Use the chat and I can read. Okay, so it seems that we do not have any questions. So, but before we jump to the welcome channel, because the raffle and the closing remarks will be there. So I will suggest that at this time we turn on the camera to take a group photo using the Teams Together mode feature. Who follow us. So let's go. How many people? There we go. Rui is there.
Come on, people, let's go. Let's take a big picture.
Eric, how's the sound right now? There we go. So let's wait a few more seconds so everyone can join. Take a quick photo. Let's say cheers. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Cheers.
Perfect. There we go. Group photo. Okay, guys, thank you. So now do not forget, in order to win something on the raffle, you need to be registered on the event. You have a message on our developer track. You can just click on the link. And let's jump to the welcome channel. So all the raffle will be there and also the closing remarks. David, thank you again for your session and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Cheers. Cheers.